This time last summer of 2020, it was mid-isolation and I started getting into vermiculture. This is another in a series of composting videos going through the trials and tribulations of the composting tower. The top comes off. So this is the coir that came with the container. I did not use it because from the reviews, a lot of people used the guidelines. The reviews were kind of confusing. Some of them said to add a gallon of water. And when they did it with these two bags, it was sopping wet and it was way too wet. And other people said that they received a brick in their container, and the brick they added a gallon to, and that worked fine. I actually, with my ordered 10 bricks of coir because I use it for microgreens, use it in my garden, it's all great. So I just used an entire brick from the same company. So that's why you're seeing this. And they go over there. Just to be on the safe side, so mine came with the paper filters as well as the plastic. I am going to use both, only because a lot of people have said when they first put their worms in, they immediately went down and some of them went into this lower area. So I'm going to use both. I was also thinking, it was recommended that I don't put everything in my bottom bin, that I put it in the second to bottom bin, so that if any worms start coming through, it's just another barrier before they get out. So that's what I'm doing. Everything's going in my second bin. There will be a bottom bin, and I'm probably going to leave the top bin on top anyway to slow them down from getting out of the top, like people have said. So I'm basically just putting my stuff in the middle and leaving it all together. These are really tight together. Some have suggested heating them up, and that when they're wet, they're easier to come apart. I understand now why they fit snug inside. The only recommendation I have so far before even using this is that there should be a ledge in here, a little ledge that sticks out, and that would affect the manufacturing. But the way that there is a lip on here, that should be in here, at least in the very corners or along the edge, so that when the next one comes in, it doesn't sink all the way to the bottom. There's like a minimum. That would help with pulling these bins out. That's the only thing I would recommend. And also if these could click into place, because this, it's not very sturdy. Like, I would expect this to get knocked over. Anyway. Okay, 3 years later, I can tell you I stand by what I said here. The bin sinking together gets to be a problem, and compression is your biggest problem when it comes to harvesting. Also, the slightest knock against the tower knocks it out of place. So in a micro homestead, this is no good because everywhere is a high traffic area. Okay, so why is compression bad? When you go to pull out your tray and harvest your compost, everything beneath it is stuck to that tray. I really think the company should put lips around the inside and the corners so that there is a minimum level that the bin can sink to. Since that's not in there, the solution I came up to was putting some sticks in there. They take longer to break down. Also, avocado seeds. If you have any, put them in the corners and they keep your tray from sinking below about an inch or two. In order to solve the problem with movement, I took my filter, and you can't see it in this video, but I put it on top of the plastic tray, and then I put a rubber band around it to hold it in place. It keeps the white tray from shifting around. It doesn't solve all of the motion problem, but it does reduce a significant amount of it. So I actually was thinking for a second, maybe I should put some newspaper in here, because I plan on doing my worms one layer above. I'm really worried about a lot of them coming out and being distressed. But I realized if I put paper in there, it's probably going to hinder liquid going through. It's just going to kind of like soak it up and dry out constantly throughout the day and possibly just breed a bunch of germs. So I'm not going to put anything in there. I'm just going to sit this on top like so. And then this is the layer we're going to start with. Bam! So there's our brown paper bag. It's doubled over. I literally just cut the bottom off and flattened it in there. Okay, so now we've got a good layer of coir in there. I haven't heard much about how high to go. I'm not going to go all the way, like excessively to the top. I'm then going to put in some shredded paper, mix it all up, put in some meal, mix it all up. Actually, I should do that right now. It's really hard to do this with 2 hands. I think that's good. Okay. These are the paper shreds that actually came with the worms, so I'm just going to go ahead and use all of those. That might be a little bit too much. Yes, it is. But I'm going to mix this all together. After this, we're going to put the worms in. Okay, so this is the food, and we had like barely a pound of it, but it's some leaves that have already started breaking down. So they're not fresh leaves, which I was told were not as good. And there in one corner, you have some tea bags, coffee and eggs, tea bags, coffee and eggs. I put them on one side, and these are chopped up veggies with a little eggshell. This is coffee, some seeds. No, not seeds. It's bits of breadcrumbs. And I'm gonna put my worms in the middle, and over time I'll sprinkle some more coir on top, but as they're in here, I would like to see like which side they kind of gravitate towards. And I want to see also if this is the right amount of moisture. I made this a little drier because I knew that these veggies were going to be moist. Okay, so you can see I've dumped in the worms. There isn't much movement. There's a couple kind of that you can see. I turned off the overhead lights just to, they don't like a ton of light, but there is one giant bright bulb behind me. Oh, there we got some movement. There we go. So I'm seeing a lot of lethargic ones, and I'm hoping they're not all dead. I'm only seeing like a couple moving to get under there. But also make sure you shake out the bag. If there's any eggs in there or anything else, you'll want them in your, yeah. And reuse this bag. You can put soil in it. Don't throw stuff out. So that's that. They seem to have enough coir, so I won't add a ton more on top. Now we're talking. So we're seeing a little movement now. Definitely doesn't look like a full pound, so I think some died in there. They're supposed to be close to 1,000. It's a pandemic. What can you do? I'm just happy they were still shipping, so we'll leave it at that. I think people need to kind of chill the hell out when they make their complaints. Complain at home, not on, the person's website. I did end up sprinkling a little bit more coir on top, and now I'm taking my bag from Sunbasket, and I'm just gonna lay that on top, and that's the one when I come in every day I'll probably just spray this, and it's very loose. I mean, you can see a big, yeah. And that's that, and I'm just gonna put, I made a little bit of a mess. But the rest of my tower, just gonna sit on top like such. And it definitely does not fit snug. So when you put it on top, wow, that is a giant gap that's gonna let a lot of bugs in, so I'm glad that paper's kind of filling that out. But other than that, I'm gonna figure what's going on with that. But that's that. And that is the vermiculture tower. I'm gonna have to clean up all around here, but very little mess setting it up. I did it on the kitchen table. No worms got loose. I just gotta clean up. For those of you who are squeamish, don't worry. I sanitize my table all the time, which is why it is turning gray and is no longer black. The footprint for this is very small. You can see that it fits on top of the Sunbasket box very easily. I don't have a ton of space in my apartment, in my living room slash kitchen slash laboratory. So that is going to sit here for today, for now. I'm not really too worried about the smell other than that gap, but after that, it's going to live in this hallway right outside my door for a little bit. We have a weird hallway. So it's going to sit here for a couple days till they get used to the temperature. It's about 10 to 15 degrees cooler here in this hallway than if you went straight out the back where we keep the garden. So once they get used to those temperatures, then they can go in the backyard. Do you have any other killed worms? That's it. I don't see any others back here escaping. He's still alive, buddy. No. We'll let your friends eat you. So here I'm in the top. Put a brown paper bag. I just ripped the bottom off. I'm gonna take the coir that I saved. And I'm gonna use this as a smell barrier and to just let it soak up moisture, because you can see the moisture is already coming up. So I think that maybe I'm just way too moist in here. So alright, so I've taken the top off. Paper's a little damp. Worms around the edge. Everybody's a little lethargic but moving. We want them down in that soil. I have two different types of worms, so red wigglers I believe stay more toppy, and these night crawlers, which are the bigger ones, they're supposed to be burrowing. So maybe I'll shake a little more coir on top. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe, and as always, keep growing.